Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm so glad that you can join me today because for me today this video is special because I'm going to be talking with you about a topic that I actually haven't discussed on YouTube yet. I've discussed it on Instagram, I've discussed it on Facebook, but I actually haven't talked about it on YouTube yet. And this is going to be about my experiences with the Hathors. So I'm really excited to talk about this. Mainly because what a lot of people don't know is that these experiences have been pivotal for my spiritual growth. Mainly when it comes to like my cosmic, my galactic connections. And it's a connection that's still growing, it's still building to this day. But these experiences were, they really catapulted me and really opened my eyes in terms of my connections to Egypt and the energies associated with them. So before I get into the experiences, let me just give you a teensy bit of background about the goddess Hathor, if you don't know. She is an Egyptian goddess. She is known to represent the energy of love, especially romantic love. She's associated with joy. She's associated with art and dancing and childbearing. So she can help people in relationships and things like that. But she's also known to be associated with helping, I think, especially the pharaohs pass from this life into the next. So she can be seen as kind of like, I guess, a spiritual midwife or someone that is like, or an energy that helps people pass on to life after death. Okay. So, and she is like like a cosmic mother, so she's associated with the Milky Way galaxy. Okay, so she's seen as like this nurturing figure, this cow whose milk nurtures, nurtures this, like especially the pharaoh, but those that are on Earth. Okay, so I wanted to tell you about my first experience first. And this happened to me a few years ago. Happened to me, I think it was either 2015 or 2016. And I can't remember which experience came first, but if you watch my Alta Major Chakra video, that event happened around the same time. Like it was very close together. I think this experience that I'm telling you about now happened after that. Okay? So, there was one night where I was in bed, I was on my way, going to sleep, lights were off and everything. And I felt this presence come into the room. Okay, I felt this presence come into the room. And the name that I heard was the Hathors. Now, before I embrace or welcome any kind of presence like that, especially back then, I was really like you are not coming into my space until I know you're cool. I asked, are you of love and light? Are you of love and light? And it was immediate, just yes. So they came through and my energy shifted drastically. My energy shifted like it was astronomical. What I felt was this energy kind of cultivate around my third eye area. And I felt it all over my body, but especially here. And then I felt a strong stream of energy around this area, the hairline, right at the hairline, maybe like an inch back around the hairline area. And I saw flashes of light and it felt like symbols were being drawn around this area. So after that happened, I heard the word asterope. And at the time, I had never heard this word. I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what that was about. And then after that happened, the energy subsided. So now just to give you some backstory about this experience, I had gotten a reading a few months, maybe a month or two before this experience happened. And I was told by the reader that there would be some sort of group of beings coming in that were called the Hathors. So I did have some background, but I didn't know who they were. I had no idea what these beings were about. And she told me, if these beings come to you, know that this is an activation. So I was being prepared even beforehand. So, but I didn't know what to expect. And quite frankly, I just let it go. You know, I wasn't attached to it because I didn't know who they were. So I wasn't really excited about it. I was like, okay, whatever, you know. So after this period, this event, which was indeed an activation because that's exactly what it felt like, I did some research, and it turns out that asterope, the word that I heard during this experience, is a star in the Pleiades. So I was like, oh my God, like, I was like, what is going on? And when I did a little bit more research, this is something that is not, I feel like you can't, I feel like you have to look for this piece of information that I'm about to give you. But the Hathors in ancient times sometimes were associated with the Pleiades, okay? So sometimes they were called the seven Hathors, okay? So they were associated with the Pleiadian constellation, okay? So seeing those two pieces of information together, I just lost it. I was like, holy moly. So from then on, this energy center has been activated, okay? And what I feel happened when this energy center activated, and there's very little information about this energy center. Some people call it the hairline chakra, or hairline chakra. Some people call it the soma chakra, but then I saw one person call it soma, but then some people say the soma chakra is here, not necessarily at the hairline. It's below the hairline. So I'm going to go with hairline chakra. Okay, not a lot of information about this energy center, but what I feel happened was that this energy center served as a gateway for me to be able to communicate with the Hathors and possibly other higher level beings as well. But I feel like this energy center is somewhat of a gateway to be able to more easily connect, to communicate, and to possibly be able to channel the energies that came from them. Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because shortly after that, it was crazy. Shortly after I had this activation with the Hathors, I was, again, sleeping. But then, you know, you reach into this, you come to this state when you're sleeping where you start to wake up, but you're not actually awake. So I had started to wake up, and I was aware that there was some sort of dreamy kind of thing going on. So what I saw was an Ankh. It was a vision of an Ankh, but it wasn't a typical Ankh. It was an Ankh that was made of rose quartz and blue lace agate. Something that I've never seen before. So I was like, okay, that's nice. But then within 2 seconds, I was taken within the loop of the Ankh. So I traveled through the loop of the Ankh, and I was somewhere else. Okay, so I was traveling through the loop of the Ankh, and where I ended up was the Temple of Hatshepsut. Okay, and the Temple of Hatshepsut is in Egypt. And the Temple of Hatshepsut is technically, it's a mortuary temple. So, and I've been there. I actually went there in 2009. And Hatshepsut's temple is on the west bank of the Nile, right near the Valley of the Kings, okay? And the west bank, actually, of the Nile, around this area, has a lot of mortuary temples because I think I read this, that the West Bank, how you have the sun that rises in the east and sets in the west, has to do with death and the passing on of the soul into the afterlife. So, I mean, that's not really that important, but I was taken there, okay? And I was kind of awake and kind of not. And during this experience, I felt, again, this energy center kind of like, it started tingling, and there was like a lot of pressure there. And I also felt my solar plexus start to kind of like move around and open up. And what happens, this happens to me every few months, where I go through some sort of experience like that, where I'm taken somewhere else, like astral traveling, and the solar plexus is really open. And what happens is I get nervous because I feel vulnerable because I'm so open. It's almost like you don't fully feel protected because you're so open, and like, I guess all of your fears come up to the surface. Anything that could happen or anything that you could find out that could ruin your life. So I was nervous, like, what is going on? But I think I was just astral traveling. So when I did my research on this, on this experience and the Temple of Hatshepsut, I was wondering, like, what does this have to do with anything? But what I found, and what I personally forgot, is that there is a Hathor chapel at the Temple of Hatshepsut, okay? And I believe that the Temple of Hatshepsut is a point where, I guess you could call it like a vortex point, where energy can come through this location, okay? And perhaps if you meditate there, you do some sort of ritual or something there, it could help in anchoring in certain energies, possibly the energies of the Hathors. Okay, so there is a Hathor temple or a Hathor chapel at the Temple of Hatshepsut. So I was taken there and I thought that was really cool. And another experience that I had, and this happened, I think it was about, it might have been 2 years down the line, if I'm not mistaken, is I was doing a meditation. So I was doing a meditation and I saw the image of the Hathors appear in front of me. And what they made me feel was that I was going to be going through another activation. But it was different than the first one because it was more so like a download of energy. So I felt it throughout my entire body. So I just meditated and I allowed it to happen. And, you know, it did its thing. Okay. And when I tuned into it, one of the things that they told me was that this energy was going to be assisting with the working, it would assist me with working with the light grids of the planet. So, okay. I forgot like one major point too when it comes to the Hathors that's important. I'll tell you guys, because I'm remembering all these other experiences too that I've had with them. The second to last experience I'm going to share was they actually came to me in again this kind of like state where you're waking up, and they had shown me a pyramid with light coming through it, and then they showed me their energy, but they were shifting. So they weren't, there's like a fly in here. I feel like every time I film a video, there's somebody who wants to disturb me. But there was the Hathors, but they were shifting. So they were moving. Okay, so they weren't solid. So it was like this energy of, spirit, but it was shifting, moving around, kind of like a kaleidoscope. If you were looking into a kaleidoscope, that's how they looked. Okay, and again, I felt this kind of like opening up of my energy. And the most recent experience that I had with them was I was singing and chanting, and I saw an image of what looked like an Egyptian woman, an Egyptian goddess perhaps, but it didn't come through as necessarily the Hathors. But what they showed me in the dream, this was a dream. So what they showed me in the dream was the sixth chakra. And at first I didn't understand, but later on what I was able to piece together was that I was being told that if I use vocal toning or chanting with the intention of connecting with them, that this would open up my connection. So it would open up the third eye and it would open up the higher chakras for me to be able to connect more easily to them. And to this day, because I found this out, I think it was like later last year, that I could do this. Once I started doing it, I noticed such a big difference in my connection. So now I can do vocal toning with the intention of connecting to the Hathors, and the connection is like really smooth. So I can have a dialogue with them. So the Hathors and I just go back and forth. So it's a really beautiful thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I wanted to share those experiences with you all because I thought they were so interesting and I thought they were really cool. Two other things I want to just share, not necessarily stuff that I experienced, but I know a lot of people associate the Hathors with the energy of Sirius and Venus. But for whatever reason, and I think it might be a personal thing for me, why they came through to me in this way, for some reason they came through to me with a Pleiadian energy. And I have connections with Sirius as well, but I think they came to me through the Pleiadian star system because the Pleiadian energy holds a certain kind of feminine energy. Sirius can be associated with feminine energy as well, but it's a bit different. Okay, so the depth of feminine energy and the way it takes form is different than in the Pleiadian system. So I think for me, they came through that system because it was something that I would personally connect with, maybe based on past lives that I've had or something that speaks to me on a soul level. So I just wanted to mention that because I know a lot of people have experiences, and if it doesn't coincide with what they read online, they kind of discard it. And I'm sharing that with you so you don't do that. So just in case you have an encounter with a certain kind of energy or a being where the information is a little bit different than what you research on the internet or what you read in a book, don't discount it, because it's your personal experience and there may be a very important reason as to why they're coming through in this way for you specifically. Okay. And the other thing I want to mention is that the Hathors, when I was talking about what they're associated with, is with all the stuff that they're associated with, they're also associated with sound. Okay, so the vocal toning that they came through with, I believe it was them personally when they came through in that dream. They didn't say it, but I think it was them. The vocal toning is such an important way of connecting, at least for me and for other people. But they do a lot of their healing through sound, because if we really trace things back, like in the furthest direction, sound is like such a baseline component of our universe. You know, sound is like, if you think about like sound and how it has created everything, you know, they told me that they are manifestations of the cosmic sound. So, you know, and I guess technically we all are, in a sense, but because they reside in the spirit realm, you know, it's a little bit different. Okay, so I wanted to mention that too, because the sound association with the Hathors is actually very important, okay? So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I just wanted to share that with you all, and I hope you enjoyed it. And stick around for my next video. I have more to share, more to talk about. Some you may like, some a little bit more controversial, but either way, you gotta speak up, speak my truth. All right, so I hope you all take care, and I send you all so much love and gratitude, okay? Take care, bye-bye.